Hello and welcome into Talk FCB and welcome back here to the channel, guys. On the agenda today, once again, Inter against Barça, but we're going to be looking at that domination. How do we go to the San Siro and perform the way that we did last night? We are going to be focusing on Ernesto Valverde, that midfield, and most importantly, how we can now implement that kind of display when it really matters in the latter stages of this competition where we badly need to perform. We're also going to have some news on MALCOM and an injury update on that man, Lionel Messi. All of that coming up and more. Let's do this. And as always, guys, we are going to be looking here at the player influence for last night. And straight away, it's crystal clear what we did so well. It's that midfield again. Look at Rakitic, look at Busquets, and look at Arthur. And what I would say about Arthur is, even sometimes you might think, his influence on the pitch isn't that massive. You don't really always notice him. But what I think he has done is actually improve the form of Busquets and Rakitic. Because since Arthur has come into that team, you've seen Busquets really up his level, even more so than he usually would. And I think Rakitic especially, he was struggling at the start of the season, but alongside Arthur, he looks a lot better, and we are going to focus a lot today on Ivan Rakitic, but also look at that front three, and look at those fullbacks. Look how high up the pitch they are. You would think that there is a home game. You would think it's a home match. We're so far up the field. Look how high that line is. Longley and Piqué right up the pitch, really going for Inter. It's so aggressive. It is so brilliant, and so brave to go away from home, set up like this, and play excellently. And now, guys, I want you to have a look at this. And you know what that is? That's the player influence for Roma against Barcelona in the Champions League quarterfinals at Stadio Olimpico, when we absolutely crumbled under the pressure and went out of the Champions League. Now, under Valverde, that is the one thing I've never wanted to see again. That performance really does haunt me, and I was so scared that we might see it again. But has he learned? Because look at the difference. Look at the colossal difference between those two teams. Look how far back in the field you are here with that Roma game. Look how deep they are in the pitch. You've got Piqué, you've got Umtiti, so deep in their own half. You've got Busquets, who's nearly alongside them, making a back three. Even the fullbacks, they're hardly advanced. And look at our forward line. It's nowhere to be seen. Suarez is nearly on the halfway line. His average position is nearly inside his own half. Messi there is our highest player, and even he is hardly into the Roma area. Compare that to yesterday. Look at those front three. They're high, they're pressing, they're showing that intensity, they're showing that will to score. They want to score, they want to be aggressive, they want to attack. That is Barcelona. And I said I wanted to talk more about Ivan Rakitic, and have a look here. The top players in terms of passes and passes completed, he is right there at the top. And alongside Arthur, he is getting more and more of the ball, because Arthur there is like the metronome. He's keeping everything going, he's keeping the beat going, and then he gives it to Rakitic. It's feeding him, so Rakitic then can go and be expressive. 94 passes completed out of 108, the most on the night by a very comfortable margin. And look at that. A lot of accuracy there, a lot of forward passes, a lot of creativity as well in the final third of the pitch. But also look at this. That kind of work rate that we saw from Rakitic in his first season at the club. When we won the treble, this was the kind of Rakitic that we were seeing. The all-action midfielder who could literally do everything. Defend, attack, score goals, create goals, keep possession in midfield. You name it, Rakitic in his first season, he would do it. And look at it here. 12 ball recoveries all over the pitch. He was absolutely everywhere in yesterday's game, and that's what he needs to do in our midfield. You've got Arthur to dictate the tempo, you've got Busquets who can sit there, who can break the lines, then you've got Rakitic, that all-action, all-quality midfield play that you need in this kind of system. And it wasn't only Ivan Rakitic there with the ball recoveries. Take a look here at Jordi Alba, who also made 9 ball recoveries on the night. But it's not only about the recoveries here. Look at where he was making those recoveries, and again, it's a sign of that aggression. It's a sign of trying to win the ball as high up the pitch as you possibly can. Look at these up here in the final third. Alba getting really tight, really high, and really going for Inter here, winning the ball back high. And when you do that, you're very close then, the next breath, to creating a chance. And that's exactly what we did. But now it's time to talk about Felipe Coutinho, and I spoke about him in a lot of detail yesterday in the 2 videos after the game, and I want to talk a bit more about him now, because he was brilliant yesterday in the final third in terms of taking on that mantle, demanding the ball, moving with it, driving at Inter. He had the most passes out of any player in the attacking third here, and as you can see, he was very careful as well with the ball. He wasn't just going at the attacking third and just putting it anywhere. He was controlled, he was very focused. 23 out of 25 successful passes in the final third. But look at this as well. 11 take-ons he tried, 8 he completed. 8 take-ons in 90 minutes is really, really impressive. That's nearly 1 every 10 minutes. And every time a player got near him yesterday, as the game went on, they were getting more and more scared of closing Coutinho down because he was getting the ball, he was so confident, and he was just spinning them. He was spinning them, he was getting away from his man, he was driving at the heart of Inter, and in that creative role yesterday, a bit more central, he got a lot more of the ball, a lot more service, and boy, he did a lot more with it. And just quickly, guys, before we move on to the likes of MALCOM, ERNESTO, Valverde, and also some news on Lionel Messi, I want to do this, and I don't often do this in Barcelona videos, but I want to talk about one of our opponents yesterday, and that's Milan Skriniar, the Inter Milan centre-back. We've been linked with him a lot. I have to say, over the past few years, he's grown and grown and grown in Serie A. We have been linked with him with that vacant centre-back role that we eventually want to bring one in. Skriniar has been linked, and yesterday, he was absolutely sensational. He was really good at the Camp Nou, but at San Siro yesterday, he was magisterial in defence. 6 out of 7 yesterday, successful tackles. He marshalled Suarez really well. In 1v1s, he was nearly impossible to beat there yesterday. Fantastic. Clearances here, 5 out of 5. He's always commanding in the area. He always clears his lines. He senses that danger. He smells the danger. And as a centre-back, that is absolutely vital. He was so good in his own area. And again here, you look at ball recoveries, Skriniar with 8 of them yesterday, and he really was impressive in terms of winning the ball back, turning it over, closing down the space, making sure that he can be athletic, get out into the channels when he needs to. And I just think his performance in general as a centre-back, like I say, I don't often do this, but I thought as an opponent yesterday, he was absolutely wonderful, and he deserves huge credit, especially given the fact we've been linked with him. And obviously, I've already spoken about Valverde in terms of has he changed, has he adopted a more attacking mentality, but what I actually want to note right now is Ernesto Valverde's demeanour, the way that he's actually expressing himself on the bench during the last few games. Because is it me, or have we seen almost a completely different Valverde? This guy suddenly is animated. Even again, you compare that game against Roma, we were 3-0 down, we were 2-0 down at points in that game, and all he did was slump on the sidelines. He was knelt on the floor, he was sitting in his seat, he looked motionless, emotionless. And yesterday, it was a completely different story. It was pouring with rain, but he was out there in his coat, marching around the technical area, giving orders, trying to inspire his team. That is what we want. That is what you desperately want to see from your coach. When you're out there giving your all, pushing yourself to the absolute maximum, you look for inspiration, you look for a bit of driving energy, and that comes from the coach. It all comes down from the coach. And Valverde yesterday on the sidelines doing exactly that. Arthur came over to him at one point in the game, he was giving him instructions, he was clear, he was concise, he was really demanding in what he wanted. And I just thought yesterday, once again, like we've seen in the past few games, Valverde a lot more animated, clearly a lot more involved in his players, and I would say even more than that, he showed a lot more leadership yesterday. He led his team out there, he led by example, he set up an attacking team, and he followed up on that. And that, as a Barcelona fan, is what we want to see from our coach, and especially what we want to see from our team. This team wants to attack, it has the players to attack, so let's do that. And a quick word here on MALCOM, guys, the hero of the day yesterday. He was on both of the Sport and MD front covers this morning. Really was an absolutely incredible occasion. I was so happy for him, as I know many of you were, when it hit the back of the net from that MALCOM pile driver from his left foot. And he was actually asked after the game, are you thinking of leaving Barcelona? You've not had much game time. Do you still looking for a way out in January? And MALCOM actually said, no. He said, I fulfilled the dream of being a Barcelona player. I've gone out on the pitch. I've worn the Barcelona shirt. All I want to do now is stay here and make history at this great club. This dream has only just started for me. And that is brilliant for MALCOM. He's so happy. And not only that, he loves being here. He loves wearing that shirt, going out on the pitch. He wants to prove a point. Yesterday, he did that. Valverde knows now he has to play MALCOM more. He deserves minutes. And I really do believe in the coming weeks, we're going to be seeing more and more of this man. And just finally, guys, some news on Lionel Messi. I'm sure a lot of you are expecting some news on him and his injury. Is he going to play against Real Betis on the weekend? That is the big question right now. Messi, as of right now, is yet to receive the medical green light. But I can tell you, today he was at the medical centre and he was in training, doing personal work, doing some work out on the field, all on his own, simply because he wants to be back. He is determined to play on the weekend. I think, to be honest, at some point against Betis, he will feature. But today, in training, on his own, nobody else was there. Everybody else had the day off, but Messi, so determined to be back on the pitch, like the fighter he is, like the warrior he is, and I cannot wait to see him back. So that is basically it from today's video, guys. My final thoughts on the Inter versus Barca game, a game that we drew in the end, but certainly a game that I really enjoyed. Watching us be aggressive, watching us take the game to our opponents, that is what you want to see as a Barcelona fan. But leave your thoughts and your comments down below, guys. I will see you soon with more videos. Thank you for joining me. But until then, as always, Vasca el Barça.